Episode 7 of Ted Lasso has just been released, and it followed directly on from what we saw last week with the group returning from Amsterdam, with Ted having his epiphany on a new style of football for the team to play halfway through the season. We saw them battle with taking on what is called total football, and taking it to the pitch in only a matter of days. With the episode being titled The Strings That Bind Us, and us having to see people thinking outside of the box at the center of this episode and the need to break out from them from time to time, it was a different episode for sure. So with that, let's recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is Ted Lasso Season 3 Episode 7, Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. As we embarked onto the ending of this installment, we saw that Richmond took on total football against Arsenal after training with the intention of using it on Saturday all week. However, on the pitch it wasn't really working out. They were being beaten 3-0 at half-time, and it looked as though there was no sense of a comeback. However, at half-time in the dressing room, Jamie spoke to the team and mentioned about how they needed to play through him rather than to him, and we then witnessed the best football that we saw AFC Richmond play all season. They were passing it around, giving off Pep-style football vibes, and although they didn't win the game, we saw that they didn't concede any more goals, and they managed to even score one. So I feel we're definitely going to see that style of football be the thing that could define Ted's career in management before it seems as though he's going to leave, especially with the excitement that Trent felt when speaking to them. Outside of this, we saw that Sam's restaurant was destroyed by what seemed as though were a group of people that shared opposing views to him about the migrant crisis in the UK. With his father flying over to see him, he wanted it to be perfect for his arrival. However, that wasn't able to happen due to the destruction, but we saw that in the final moments of the episode, the team all came together and helped repair Sam's restaurant, providing a somewhat emotional moment that came completely out of the blue. I think this confirmed what the fourth point was that we never saw be spoken. I think it's togetherness. There were so many moments in this episode where togetherness was the problem solver, and the main thing that allowed the issues that the team were facing to be solved. For example, on the pitch with them essentially being one and filling in for each other's positions, and also right at the end when they helped Sam. This also tied into the overall theme of the episode, which was focused on total football, which was defined as being a style of play where positions no longer exist, about losing baggage and taking risks and supporting others' decisions, something which the team did with Sam. They stood by him and each other when the time was right. Let's break the rest of the video down by the main characters. Ted. Ted didn't have too much of a large involvement when it came to the overall story and emotional moments in this episode. We genuinely saw him just acting as a coach, something that I know has been a frustration for many viewers this season, the lack of screen time on the training ground and on the pitch, and I feel as though we saw Ted fully embodying the managerial role within this episode. There was a moment towards the end where we saw that Sam and his father were together on a bench spending some quality time with one another, and there was a small few seconds where Ted looked out of the window at them before going out, and you could really sense that he wanted to be with his own son Henry, and that he felt as though he was missing out on being with him, something which has been at the center point of this season. I feel as though the next episode is going to delve more into Ted's mental health again, as it looks as though Ted is going to be looking after Henry whilst Michelle and Dr. Jacob go on a romantic break, so I imagine we could see Ted take a turn for the worse again. Keeley. Keeley had a strong involvement in this week's episode. Her relationship with Jack Danvers was something that she was keeping a secret. It was because she didn't want to make anybody feel awkward. However, there was a sense of awkwardness that felt as though was brewing, with Jack Danvers being what seemed like infatuated with her, and going extremely over the top with the gifts that she kept buying. I feel as though it's going to be something that's going to make the couple grow apart, as Keeley will most likely think that it's a bit too much. There was a moment where we saw that Rebecca was comparing Jack Danvers to Rupert, and saying how all of the gifts could be a mask for something. I don't know if I feel that that's the case with Jack, as she does seem quite genuine, but I think something different is going to happen. In the synopsis for the next episode, there's a section that says, an online leak has massive implications for Keeley. Barbara has been extremely sour to Keeley from the off, and with her looking at her in a funny way when her relationship was announced to the office, I feel as though Barbara could potentially be behind whatever it is that's going to be leaked. Or Jack Danvers could end up putting something online. Who knows? I'm still holding out for that Keeley and Roy reunion though. Nate. Like Keeley, Nate was blinded with attraction in this episode. Nate really liked Jade and wanted to take her out on a date, which he did eventually do. This was the main thing that we saw Nate's involvement be about. We saw that he was extremely awkward and that he didn't really know how the best way to ask her was. So we essentially saw him fumbling around for an hour. It's true to the character's traits and behaviors, but I did get a little fed up with it by the end. We did get a sense of growth from him with the way that he just asked her outright at the end, but it felt like it took a long time to get there. I feel this is him going back to who he was, and it could be the beginning of the end for him, in the sense that the person that Rupert is molding doesn't exist anymore, and he may end up reaching out to Ted to repair the relationship that they had. With only a few episodes to go, I feel like they have to, right? Jamie. Jamie is a character that's definitely growing in this season. We saw him take the lead in the dressing room at halftime, which was what ultimately allowed them to stop conceding and score a goal. And we also saw him being ahead of everybody when training, showing that his extra sessions with Roy had definitely been working. I feel we're going to see Jamie step up more over the coming episodes and be the player that everybody needs him to be on the pitch. With a game with Man City looking like it's on the cards, I feel we're going to see his moment occur within that game. Overall review. I thought this episode was just okay. I'd say it was probably my least favourite episode of the season, but I think it's just because there was a bit too much going on. We had the heaviness of the migrant crisis, which could have had a whole episode solely focused on it. However, it instead felt like the side piece to two love stories that we were watching develop, which I think made the tone feel slightly off. It was great seeing the new tactic work for the team, and it seemed as though they were now going to be moving forward and hopefully winning some games again, concluding their 10-game win drought. I'm also glad that we got to see a nicer side to Nate for the first time in this season. We saw the awkward, good-intentioned Nate that we've not really seen since season 2, so it was refreshing to see. I think the next episode is going to be a good one, especially with it seeming as though Ted is going to be reunited with Henry again, the center of his world. This could be the beginning of the end, and with only 5 episodes to go, a conclusion will surely start to feel like it's being drawn to. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the remainder of the season. So, there you have it, Ted Lasso Season 3 Episode 7, Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.